Good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to our sessions on Python for AI. We'll quickly recap what we have covered in the last session. Then we'll continue with the post session, right? So in the last session, we have started understanding arguments or parameters. Right, friends? Yes. So what do you mean by an argument or parameter? What is a parameter? What are arguments? What exactly is a parameter in function? Parameters are nothing but the values that you pass in the function heading or the function body, because parameters are of two types. They are formal parameters and local parameters. Yes, within the function definition. Okay, so the values that you pass within the function heading, within the function definition, okay, is nothing but the formal parameters. And the values that will be used within the function body are local parameters. Then coming to arguments, what exactly are arguments? Arguments are the values that we use in function calls. The values that we use, the variables that will be used in the function calls. They are nothing but arguments. Good. And in Python, under functions, we have this mechanism called arguments parameter passing mechanism. Arguments parameters passing mechanisms. What exactly is this? The values of the arguments will be passed to the parameters. So this mechanism is called arguments parameter passing mechanism. And how many types do we have under this mechanism? There are in total 5 types of arguments parameter passing mechanism. What are they? What are they? They are positional parameters or arguments, default parameters or arguments, keyword, variable length, and keyword variable length. We have 5 types. So out of 5 types, in the last session, we have understood the first 4 types. Positional, default, keyword, variable length, parameters or arguments. Good. So what are these positional parameters or arguments? What exactly are these positional parameters? Positional arguments. Come on guys, everyone have to respond in the chat. What exactly are these? Positional arguments, positional parameters. In simple, the number of arguments must be equal to the number of parameters. The concept of positional arguments is both the number of arguments and the number of formal parameters has to be the same. And the values, the argument values will be assigned. They will be passed based on the position. Based on the position. Based on the order. Good. And Python, by default, it follows positional parameters. What kind of parameters are by default followed? Under functions. Positional parameters only. Then, what about default arguments or default parameters? What are these default? Defaults is taking a default or common value for a parameter. Okay, when you want to pass a same value, common value for a parameter, it becomes a default parameter. Okay, so it might be n number of function calls. So just passing a default value to a parameter will be a default parameter or a default argument. And we have also understood the rule, right? The rule says both the default parameters and if you are also using positional arguments, positional parameters within the function, okay, ensure that the default parameters should be at the last. They have to be at the last position. Initially, we should have positional parameters. Yes. So this is very important. Then the next type, keyword. So what exactly is this keyword parameter or keyword arguments? What are these? Keyword parameters or keyword arguments. They are nothing but, passing the values. Passing the values by using keys in the function call. So, irrespective of the order doesn't matter here, guys. Okay. So, the parameter names, whatever the parameters that we have in the function definition, will be used as keys to pass the values. And can we go in any order? Yes. Order doesn't matter because as we are using this parameter as a key, okay, and passing the value, you can change the order of the keyword parameters. Yes, accepted. Even though if they are not in the same order, accepted. But for position, no. Based on the position, based on the order, the values will be passed. Clear? Fine. Then finally, we have also discussed variable length arguments, variable length parameters. So what are these? Variable length arguments are variable length parameters. A variable length argument or parameter is generally defined with an asterisk symbol. Asterisk symbol will be used to define a variable length parameter or argument. Okay, so it is nothing but star. How many, such kind of parameters can we have in the function definition? Only one. They cannot be multiple. When it comes to the purpose of variable length parameters or arguments, they help us to store or hold any number of values. So multiple values can be stored coming from the function calls. Yes, it can accept multiple number of values, and the type for these values will be tuple. This is also an interview question, so just make a note of these important questions. And we have also discussed two important rules. One is we can have only one variable length parameter or argument inside the function definition, inside the function heading, but we cannot have multiple. This is one important thing. And the other one is when we are using both variable length and default parameters in the function heading, ensure that the default parameters are used at the last. Okay, before the default parameters, we use variable length parameters. Clear? Right. So all these topics were being done, were being covered. So today we'll just continue with the other parameter, argument parameter passing mechanism. The last type, it is keyword variable length parameter or arguments. It is keyword variable length argument or parameters. Right? Yes, let's get started, friends. So what exactly are these keyword variable length arguments or parameters? What are these? What is the purpose of having a keyword variable length arguments, keyword variable length parameters? We'll understand. It is similar to variable length arguments, but there is a slight difference between keyword variable length and variable length. Okay, so let us understand. When we have a multiple function calls, when we are calling a function for multiple times, okay, with keyword variable number of values, okay, so when we are calling a function in which we are passing number of values along with the keywords, okay, what happens? We have to define the function for multiple times. Multiple times. Okay, so this process generally leads to more time. To overcome this process, we have the concept of keyword variable length parameters. So what exactly is this keyword variable length parameters? We use a symbol to denote keyword variable length parameters. It is double asterisk mark. It is double asterisk mark. Nothing but 2 stars. And when it comes to the purpose of a keyword variable length operators, a keyword variable length parameters or arguments, they help us to store number of key value pairs coming from similar function calls. From the same function, they help us to store multiple keys and values whose type is dict. So the difference that we have understood between variable length arguments and keyword variable length arguments is variable length parameters, they help us to store or hold any number of values, only values, right? Coming from the function calls, but the type will be tuple. So only to hold multiple values, to store multiple values, we use variable length parameters, but to store or hold multiple key values, keys and the values coming from the function calls, we use keyword variable length parameters and the type is dict. and the type is dict, right? And how do we represent it? Using double star. Single star, variable length parameters. Double star, keyword variable length parameters, right? And there is one more rule here. It is again the same. So within the function definition, within the function heading, we can have only one. We can have only one keyword variable length parameter or argument, not multiple. Multiple are not required. If you have one parameter, keyword variable length parameter, that will accept multiple key value pairs. That will hold or store multiple key value pairs. Clear? Right. So now let us work out on a few examples. Then we'll come back. What are we doing, friends? What are we doing in line number 4128? I'm defining a function. What is a function? The function is display, disp. Okay. So display is the function which helps us to display some values. Okay. In which we are passing a single parameter. What is it? It is a keyword variable length parameter. It is a keyword variable length parameter. Double star A, which represents a keyword variable length parameter. How can I understand it? Just you see the symbol double star. So this is a keyword variable length parameter. Then indentation symbol followed by our block of statements. Right? So what does the first statement say? The first line says to print 50 hyphens, and from the second line we have a for loop. We have a for loop. So try to understand this for loop, guys. What is the syntax of for loop? For keyword followed by variable names, variable name in an iterable object. An iterable object. So let us understand, is it the same? Yes. For keyword followed by variable names. What are the variable names? K, comma V. K, comma V are the variable names in what is the iterable object? The iterable object it is referring to is A. Is A an iterable object? Yes. Why? Because it is a keyword variable length parameter. And what will be the type? The type will be dict. Is dict type a iterable object? Yes. Yes. So a dot items will return what, friends? Items function. Items function, when you are using on a dict type value or dict type object, it will return both keys and values. Right? It will return both keys and values. So keys will be assigned to K and values will be passed to V. So what's getting happened in the next line? In the next line, the values of K and V are getting formatted where it prints key value separated by an arrow mark. Is it simple? It's not complicated, right? Yes, so very simple, but creating a function with a keyword, variable and parameter. Let me define the function first of all. Done? Yes, it is done. Then what are we doing in the next line? Are we calling the function? Yes, we are calling the function. Function was defined. Now, calling the function where we are passing, the arguments, key value. Key value will be passed. And this key value pairs will be stored by our keyword variable length parameters. It gets stored by keyword variable length parameters. So what will be the output for line number 4188? What will be the output? The output will be S number arrow mark 10. Yes. Simple. Whatever we have within this message inside the print function gets printed. Then let us go to the next line. Are we calling the function again? Yes, we are calling the function again. But how many, keyword parameters are being passed? Keyword arguments, how many of them are being passed? We are passing two. Enrollment number, sorry, this is employee number, employee name, right? So the output will be E number, arrow mark 100, E name, arrow mark pointing towards JG. Simple. It just takes the value, stores it at A, and the values of the keys will be assigned for K, and the values will be assigned for V, and these values of K and V gets printed. They get formatted and they'll be printed. Good. In the next example, where we are calling the function again, calling the function disp and passing three values, three key values, not one. So city TS will be printed, capital HYD gets printed, language, Telugu, Hindi, English gets printed as it is. Good. The next line, what are we doing? We are calling the function again. So calling the function disp again, where four key values are being passed. Key value, key value. So all these key values are being passed. So what will be the output? The output will be employee number 100, employee name Rosam, Sal 3.4, organization NEUT gets printed. Good guys, respond. Everyone has to respond. Then, in the same way, calling the function again, so it prints all the key value pairs separated by arrow mark. So A10, B20, C30, D40 and E50 gets printed. And finally, I'm just calling the function without passing any key value pairs. So will it execute? Will it execute or not? I hope you have got some clear picture regarding keyword, variable and parameters. So it helps us to store multiple key value pairs from the function call. Okay. So what it is doing? Multiple key value pairs. Okay. Key value are being passed and it is going to hold them, store it. Yes. Even if I don't pass any of the value, key value, still it will execute. Yes. It got executed. Clear? Right. Now, let us understand one more example on keyword variable length parameters. Keyword variable length parameters. So try to understand the function. We are defining a function and the function name is find total marks. The name of the function is find total marks, in which I am passing parameters like sname, CLS class. Okay. Then this is a keyword variable length parameter marks. How do we understand? Because it is represented with double star. Double star. So marks is a keyword variable length parameter. Then, so what does the block of statement says? To print 50 hyphens followed by the name of the student that will be passed will be formatted and it prints student name. In the same way, the class gets formatted and it prints student studying in whatever the class gets printed. Again, followed by it is going to print 50 hyphens. Then we have total marks, keeping it as 0. Okay. And it will also print a tab space followed by subject name, tab space followed by subject marks. So these values gets printed and again it is going to print 50 hyphens. Next to it we have a for loop. We have for loop in which the values, the keys and the values that marks parameter gets stored will be passed. Keys will be passed to subject name and values will be passed to subject marks. How? Using items function. Because we know that marks is a keyword variable and parameter and it holds or stores the values using which type? Dict type. By default, it takes dict type. So these values of subject name and subject marks gets formatted and the results will be printed. And finally, it is also, updating the values of total marks. How? Initially total marks is 0. Then later on we'll get the subject marks, the values. These values get added to the total marks and the value of total marks will be updated. In this way, it updates for each and every iteration and then comes to the else block and prints 50 hyphens as well as the total marks that this student have scored. Is it a simple one? Yes. Not complicated, right? Very simple. Now, function dot define. Let me call the function. Let me call the function. So the function is find total marks is the function name. So we are calling it, in which we have multiple arguments being passed. Rs, X. So what are these Rx and S? What kind of parameters are they? Come on guys. Anyhow, we know that the rest of the key values are nothing but, they are keyword variable length parameters. This is all of these. But what does, you know, S name and class, what kind of or what type of arguments are they? Positional. Very, very good. They are positional friends. So the value of RS will be passed to S name. The value of X will be passed to CLS. But rest of all the subject marks and the values will be passed to marks. Right? So let me execute. What will be the output? It just starts from here and it undergoes each and every line and it gives the output. See. So that means our student have scored 397. The total marks are 397. A simple program where we are trying to print the total marks. In the same way, we are calling the function again. Yes, we are calling the function again. So, what is the student name? The student name is JG. Positional argument. What is the class? 12th. And rest of all the keyword parameters will be, keyword arguments will be stored by marks. Right? So let me execute and see what will be the results. Let us check what are the total marks. They are 188. 188. Then calling the function again. Yes. So I'm passing values for the positional parameters and also passing keyword parameters which will be stored by marks. How many subjects? In total, 4 subjects are being passed. 4 subjects and the marks. So it will print the results as it is. And it is also, updating the total marks. So it is 244. Then what will be the output for the next line? Where we have the student name as TR and the class is research. Class is research. So, how many subjects are we passing? We are just passing only one. Will it execute? Yes, it will execute. So, name will be TR and subject will be research. Okay, and in which it follows the for loop, printing the subject name and the marks, and the total marks will be 50 only. It will not throw any error. It will execute. Even though if you have only one key value, that is accepted. That is what we have understood right here. It will accept. Then what about the last keys? 4218. Calling the function again, but not passing any values for. We are not passing any values for our marks. Marks parameter. Will it execute? Guys, everyone have to respond. Will it execute or not? Yes, it will execute. Even though if I don't pass any value for the keyword, variable and arguments or parameters, still it executes. See, the total marks will be 0. There is no change. Right? Yes. But what if I missed out any one of the value for sname or CLS? Will it execute? Even though if you don't pass any values for marks, still it executes. That is what we have understood, right? If you don't pass any value for sname or CLS, will it execute or not is the question. The answer is no. Why? You'll get a syntax error. You'll get a syntax error and the error will be like missing one positional argument. Okay. So whenever you have positional arguments, positional parameters, the values for these positional parameters have to be passed. If not, it will throw you an error. Clear? Yes. So this is the understanding of keyword, variable length, parameters or arguments. And this marks the end of all the types of parameter argument passing mechanism. All of the 5 types we have discussed, friends. Right? So let us understand the next topic. It is variables. Variables? Yes, it is variables. We have discussed, right, on day 2. Yes, we have discussed a variable, fine. But in variables, there are 2 types. They are global variable and local variable. They are global variables and local variables. Oh, what is a global variable? What is a local variable? We'll understand. Because when we discussed variables topic, why we haven't understood the types of variables is probably when you try to understand this particular topic in the initial stage, you'll not grab anything. Will not understand. So this is the right time because we are understanding functions currently. So this is the right time to understand what is the global variable and what is a local variable in Python. Right? So without no further delay, let us get started. The purpose of global variables. The purpose of global variables is to store the common values from different function calls. So when you're calling a function, okay, you'll be calling the function for multiple times. Yes. And these variables help to store the values. In short, global variables are the variables, which are defined before all the function calls. Which are nothing but they are defined before all the function calls. They are global variables. Okay, then what is a local variable? Local variables are those which are used for storing. Again, they are also used for storing the temporary results in the function body. Within the function body, we'll use some variables, right? So they are local variables. Here we have, in short, local variables are the variables which are defined inside the function body. So if you are defining any of the variable inside the function body, so this is a function. And within the body, if you are defining any of the variable, it becomes a local variable. And what are global variables? Global variables are the variables which are defined before all the function calls. Is this defined inside a function? No. Within the function body? No. So this becomes a global variable. Variable 1, variable 2 are nothing but global variables. Even they help us to store the values, right? In the same way, local variables are also helping us to store the results, but temporarily. The results will be stored temporarily, right? So that makes the difference between local variable and global variables. In short, local variables are the variables which are defined inside a function body. And global variables are defined before all function calls. That's it. Simple. Right? So let us work out on a few examples to get more understanding about local and global variables. I'll go back to the hands-on. Right. So what is this? We are trying to store ROSM. Yes. Where in a variable it is PF name, professor name. It is PF name. So tell me what kind of variable is PF name? Guys, what kind of variable is PF name? It is a global variable. Are you defining the variable inside on a function within the function body? No. It is not a local variable. It will become a global variable. See. Right. Then I'm going to define a function where the function name is learn data science. It is learn data sci. Right. So the function name is learn data science. And within the parenthesis, the regular braces, are we passing any parameters? No formal parameters are being passed. Then next to it, we have indentation symbol, and down to which we have a block of statements. So the first line says we are storing a value data science, okay, in a variable CRS1, which means course 1. So what kind of variable is this CRS1 in this example, in this function? Course 1 is a local variable because we are defining it in the function body. So here CRS1 is a local variable. And next to it we have print function. So to print a message where it is also performing formatting to format the values of course name, language and professor name in this message. Okay, we are not worried about the message or the other things. Here we are able to understand the concept of global and local variables. Right? So let me define it, friends. Done. The function got defined. Then I'm also defining one more function, learn ML, in which I see one more local variable, course 2. What it is? Machine learning. Machine learning. Okay. And I'll be defining the function. Done. We have one more function It is learn DL in which there is a local variable course 3 which stores deep learning. Okay, and a print function which is going to print a message. Right. So I have defined all the functions, learn data science, learn ML, learn DL. Now, my job is to call them. My job is to call them. So what am I doing? I'm going to store Python in a variable language, lang, in a variable language. So what kind of variable it will be? It will be a global variable. Why? Is the variable getting defined inside the function body? No. So obviously it becomes a global variable. I can see it here. Language is Python. It is storing a value Python and the size is 6, and which type is used by this variable? It is using str type to store the value Python. Right? Yes. So in line number 4235, we are calling the function. We are calling the function learn data science. So when you call the function, it will execute all the block of statements in the function learn data science. So course data 1 it stores data science, and then it prints a message. To develop based applications, we use dash language and backslash a new line invented by again, dash, where at these positions, the values of course name, course 1, language, professor name will be used. They get formatted, right? So let me call the function. Done. To develop data science. What is a course? Data science. Based applications, we use Python language invented by Rosam. In the next line, we got the next line. So we were able to use both local and global variables as part of, the formatting within the function, because P of name is a global variable and language is also a global variable, right? Yes. Now I'll print hyphens, then followed by we are calling learn ML function. What are we doing? We are calling the function learn ML. So in the same way it executes all the lines, block of statements. So the output will be to develop machine learning, because the course has been changed in this function. So to develop machine learning based applications, we use Python language invented by Rosam will be our output. Simple guys. Then printing hyphens again. And this time we are going to call, what are we calling? We are going to call learn DL function. So the output will be the local variable got changed, which stores deep learning. So the output will be to develop deep learning based applications. We use Python language invented by Rosam will be our output. Done, friends. So I hope probably you might have understood the difference between global and local variables. Right? Yes. But there is one more topic called global keyword. What is this global keyword? Let us understand this global keyword, right? So what does this global keyword does? So when you want to modify, when we want to change a global variable, when you want to change the value for a global variable, inside of a function definition. Inside of a function definition, then global variable names must be preceded with global keyword. Simple English, but anyhow, I'll explain it. So in this syntax, you see all the three variables, variable 1, variable 2, variable n, all of them are global variables? Yes. Because global variables are the variables which are defined before all the function calls. And moreover, they cannot be local variables because they are not defined in any of the function body. So they are global variables. And if I want to change the values that are getting stored, they got stored using these global variables. If I want to modify, if I want to change these values for the variables, global variables, inside a function, definition, then, the global variables will be accessed using a keyword called global keyword. They will be accessed using a keyword called global keyword. So using this global keyword, we can access the global variables inside the function definition. Very, very important, guys. Okay, so for this, we'll also understand a few examples. Earlier, we have understood what is a global variable and what is a local variable, right? But here onwards, we'll be understanding the local and the global variables. Apart from it, we'll try to access the global variables inside the functions, the function definition using the keyword global, right? So what are we doing in line number 4242? In line 4242, we are storing a value 10 in A. Done. So what kind of variable it is? It's a global variable. It is a global variable, right? Then we are defining a function increment. The name of the function is increment. Okay, which says to print the value of A in increment. So the formatting will be done as it is. So I'm going to define the function increment. Done? Yes. So I'm going to access the value of A. So this time I'm using print function. So printing a message in which the formatting is being done, the value of A gets formatted at this position. So obviously the output will be value of A before increment main program is equals to 10. Because 10 is the value that is being stored in A. Right? Yes. But what if I call the function increment? What will be the output? If I call the function increment that we have defined in line number 4243, will it execute? Yes, it will execute. What will be the output? In this case, the output will be value of A in increment is equals to 10. It will execute and we are accessing a global variable within a function C. Within the function. Now, next example, I'll take the same value storing 10 in A, where A becomes a global variable. Yes. Now, so I'm defining the function same increment, but how are we accessing the global variable A? Using a keyword, global. So global keyword will be used before the, global variable to access, to refer. So this is nothing but this particular variable A, which stores the value 10. So it prints value of A in increment. So the value of 10 will be printed as it is. Next to it, the value of A, it is getting, updated by 1. So 1 is getting added to A value. So the value of A will be 11. Right? Then in the next line, we are trying to print the value of A again. So it will be 11 this time. Here it will be 10. Here it will be 11. How are we able to refer the value of A? Using the word global. Okay, so the keyword global helps us to refer the global variables inside our function definition. Am I defining the function? Yes. So as part of it, we are defining, as part of the function definition only, we are referring a global variable using global keyword. Simple? Right. So let me execute. First of all, I'm defining the function. Done. Then what are we doing in line number 4257? Using print function. Then printing the value of printing a message. Okay. So it is like value of A before increment main program dot format. The value of A gets formatted and the output will be obviously 10. Obviously 10. You can also have a look here, guys. But when I call the function, so all these lines get executed. All the lines of code, all the block of statements, they get executed within the function when you are calling it. So what will be the output? It will return two outputs. Two lines will be printed. One is line number 4252. The output will be value of A in increment is equals to 10, and it will also print value of A in increment is equals to 11. So we'll get two lines as output. Have a look. So what happened? Value of A got updated and you see it is 11. It is 11. Then if I use print function to print a message, the value of A, what will be the output? Will it print 10 again? No. No more 10. A is storing a value of 11. So that is the difference. That is the difference. So this should be like after. Clear? Now, let me go to the next example. Very simple, guys. We understood the purpose of global keyword and we are working out on a few examples. Very simple. Right. What are we doing? So again, storing 10 in A. So A becomes a global variable. Then defining a function increment. The function is same. There is no change with respect to the function increment. So I'm executing as it is. Then I'm coming up with one more function, update eval. The name of the function is update eval. Okay, so update value. is the function which helps us to, what is the purpose of this function? We'll understand. Inside this function, we are accessing the value of A because global A, right? Global is the keyword which is helping us to refer the global variable A, and it prints the value of A in update val is equals to the value of A. And finally, it will also execute this arithmetic operation. What is this? Multiplication? Yes. So the value of A will be multiplied by 2 and it gets stored back to A again. It will be stored back to A. Right? So again, this particular function is also simple and I have defined it. So pay attention. What will be the output for line number 4274? What will be the output for line number 4274? What are we doing? Using print function? Yes. We are using print function which helps us to print a message using formatting. So what will be the output? The output will be 10. Why? What is the value that you have in A? It is 10. So obviously, 4274 will return as 10. 4274 will return as 10, not 11. How come 11? Because see, I just defined, but I did not call them, right? If I have called them, then the value of A will be updated. So don't get confused. I just defined it. Then I'm just printing the value of A. When I try to print the value, it is storing 10, right? So it will print 10 as the output, right? Then in the next line, we are calling the function increment. When you call the function increment, what outputs you will get for A? What are the outputs that we get for A? It will return initially the value of A as it is. So 10 will be printed. Then the value of A is getting updated by 1 addition operation. And it will also print the value of A. So 10 and 11 will be the output for line number 4275. Clear? 10 and 11, not only 11. 10, 11. Fine. Then what are we doing? We are printing using print function. We are printing the value of A. As the value of A got updated, it is storing 11. So the output will be 11. Then what are we doing? I am calling the function update val. Once if I call the function update val, what it will print? What will be the output for line number 4277? Respond, friends. The output for line number 4277. The output will be, so we are accessing, we are referring the global keyword, global variable A using the global keyword. Okay. So what will be the output? No, no, no. It will not be 22. That is what? Focus, friends. Why not 22? What will be the output? See, when I call the function update val in the block of statements, the first statement is referring A using the global keyword A. Right. I know that A is storing 11. Then what is the next statement? To print the value of A. To print the value of A using print function. So the output will be 11. It will print 11. Then it goes to the next line and it updates the value of A. But is it printing anywhere? No. It is not printing. If you have this line before the previous one, then obviously you are right. It will be 22. But are we printing it anywhere? No. We are not printing the final A value after multiplication, but the value of A will be updated. It will be 22. Instead of 11, you'll find 22 here. But in the output, in the console, you see, the value of A printing to 11 only, not 22. So these are the tricky questions. Why are you getting confused? No confusion. But if you see the value of A, the value that is being stored in A is 22. Why? Because of multiplication operation. Arithmetic operation, multiplication is being performed. So 11 multiplied by 2, 22. So 22 will be stored in A. Now I'll use print function to print the value of A. So what will be the output for line number 4278? Will it be 11 or 10? What will be the output? 4278, the output will be 22. Good. Why? The value of A is being updated. Whenever I call the functions increment and update val, 10. Initially the value that A has is 10. It got updated and now it is holding a value of 22. That is how you have to understand, friends. Don't just blindly, see it here and give your responses. Take your time to understand the code, to understand the script. Clear? Anyways, good work. Come on, let's maintain the spirit and understand the next example. So I'm taking the same function, the same functions, the same value for A, but there is a small change. Only one line of code is being changed. So that is line number 4281. That is line number 4281. Now let me execute the same functions again and we'll see what are the output for each and every line. So initially storing 10 in A. So it is a global variable. Then what happens post executing line number 4281? The value of A will be incremented by 1. It will be incremented by 1. So 10 plus 1 is 11. So 11 gets stored in A. See, addition operation, guys. Then the two functions increment and the update val are same, no change. I'm defining both the functions, done. Both the functions were being defined. Now, tell me what will be the output for line number 4294. Output for line number 4294. 4294. What will be the output? It will not be 12. No. 4294, it will return as 11. Are we calling the function? No, we are using print function, guys. What is the purpose of print function? Print function helps us to display the output to the console. So formatting is being done. The value that we have in A will be printed as it is. So 11 will be printed, not 12, not 10. Because A value got updated, 11. Right. What will be the output for line number 4295? 4295. Calling the function increment? Yes. When you call the function increment, it starts executing the block of statements one by one. So what will be the output for the values of A for line number 4295? Yes. So when you are giving your responses, ensure that you also keep the line number. Line number followed by the responses will make sense. The output for line number 4295, calling increment function. What values of A will be printed? Perfect. The output will be 11 and 12, not only 12. The output will be 11 and 12. How come? Initially, it prints the value of A as it is. Then the value of A is being incremented by 1 addition operation. And again, it prints the value of A. So, initially it is 11. Post increment, it will be 12. So, 11 and 12 will be printed. Not only 11 or not only 12. Both. Good. What will be the output for line number 4296? The next line in which we are using a print function which helps us to print the values to the console. Output for line number 4296. 12. The output will be 12. How come? Because the value of A got updated right previously. So currently A is holding value 12. So the output for line number 4296 is 12. Good. Then what will be the output for line number 4297 where we are calling the function update value? Update value, the function is being called. So what will be the output of A? Come on guys, respond. The output will be 12 again. It will be 12 again, not 22. Don't get confused. No. Because it will print the value initially. Later on, the multiplication operator. It is performing the multiplication. Observe. So for line number 4297, the output will be 12 only. But as the function was called, all the statements, all the lines of code will be executed. Yes, so that means A value will also get updated. 12 became 24. Now, if I execute line number 4298, the output will be 24. Perfect. Simple? Yes. So here we are not printing the output after multiplication. We are not printing the value of A after the multiplication. Before multiplication, we are printing. So that means nothing but the value of A itself. Anyways, good catch. I hope it's clear. One more example. Let us try this one as well. Okay. So this is also related to global keyword. Okay. So what are we doing here, friends? Line number 4300. Multi-line assignment. Is it multi-line assignment? Yes. It says A comma B is equals to 10 comma 20. So that means 10 will be stored in A and B stores 20. So both A and B are two global variables. They are two global variables. Done. Right. Then next to it, we have two functions. The first function is update val1, in which we are referring the global variables A and B using global function, global keyword. And the next line says updating or incrementing the value of A by 1, and in the same way we are also incrementing the value of B by 1. So this is what happens when you call the function update eval1. Then what happens when we call update eval2? So it is also referring the global variables A and B, where the values of A and B will be multiplied by 2. I hope it's clear, right? Very small functions. Two small functions we are defining and referring the global variables using the global keyword. In both the functions, we are referring the global keywords A and B. Right. Now, let us start our journey. Output for line number 4311. Output for line number 4311. What will be the value for 4311? Initially, the value of A is getting printed. So what value we have for A? It is 10. It is 10. Then in the same way, we are also printing the value for B. It is 20. Then we are calling the function update eval1. Okay. We are calling the function update eval1. So what will be the output? Will we get any output? No. I don't see any kind of print functions. No print function is used. And moreover, there is no return keyword also. So this will be called, the function will be called and executed. But only you'll see the differences between the values of A and B in the variable explorer. But nothing gets, printed to the console. See, to the console, it is not returning any output. But here, the values of A and B, they got incremented by 1. Addition operation has been performed. Yeah. Now, what will be the output for line number 4314 and 4315? 4314, the output will be 11. Good. 4315, the output will be 21. So after the function update eval 1, the values of A and B got updated to 11 and 21. 11 and 21. Then I am calling the function update eval 2 where the values will be. What happens to the values of A and B? Post executing update eval 2. These values of A and B 11 and 21 respectively will be multiplied by 2. So let me execute. Will it throw any error? It is going to print anything to the console? No. But if you see, the values of A and B got updated. So the output for line number 4317 will be 22. Good. Line number 4318, 42. Clear? So I hope probably we have worked on good amount of examples coming to global keyword. Yes? Right. So by this time you should have a clear picture how global keyword will be used to access the global variables inside the function body. During the function definition, when you are defining the function to access, to refer the global variables, we use global keyword. Right? Yes. The next topic that we have is globals function. There is a function called globals. So what is the purpose of this globals function? You'll understand, guys. Very important. So this is also an important function that one has to be aware of, especially coming to the concept of functions, right? So there is a function called globals. So what is the purpose of using globals function is, so within a function or within a Python program, okay, when we want to or when we have same global variable names and local variable names, when we have same global variable names and local variable names in the same function definition, so within the definition of the function, then the Python virtual machine, it gives preference to local variables, but not for global variables. So this is what happens in general. Within the function, within a program, there are some global variables and there is a function in which there are local variables also. And what if the global variables and the local variables are same? If both of them are same, that doesn't mean both of them are same, guys. These are global variables and they are local variables, right? So when I want to access the global variables, I'm clueless. But the PVM, it gives preference to the local variables initially. It gives the preference to the local variables, but not for the global variables. So for that reason, we use the function called globals. There is a function called globals. So this globals function helps us to extract, retrieve. It helps us to extract, retrieve the global variable names, okay, along with the local variables. Clear? So, and it returns a object of dict. A global's function will always return an object of dict. And in this dict object, it stores the global variable names as keys and global variable values as values. Right? So this is how the importance of global variables came into the picture. A global's function helps us to retrieve the global variable names and the values in a dict object. In a dict object. So if you see here, both the local variables and the global variables, they are same. So PVM initially, just gives the preference to the local variables, not for the global variables. In order to extract these local variables, we use a function called globals. We use a function called globals. And this globals function helps us to return as a dict object. Key value pairs. Within a dict object, you'll have key value pair. So the keys are nothing but the global variable names and the values are nothing but the values, the variable values. Okay, so how do you do it? You also have it here. Again, there are two approaches. I can directly assign this globals function to an object and that object will be used on, the variable to get the value. Or I can use a function called get. I can use a function called get because this globals function will return as a dict object. On the dict object, if you are going to get the value, there is a function called get. So when you see get of variable 1, it will return as the value 1, global value 1. If not, we can directly keep it as globals function. Then we are accessing the values using the keys. So all of these are nothing but, the topics of dict. Under dict type, we have discussed all these friends. I hope you are aware of, you remember all the topics, right? So let us focus on few examples. What are we doing? Storing value 10 in A, 20 in B, 30 in C, and 40 in D. 20, 10, 20, 30, and 40 in A, B, C, D respectively. All these four variables A, B, C, D they are global variables. They are global variables. Fine. I'm defining a function and the function name is fun1. Function 1. Okay. Just a sample name. Random name just given. Okay. Then in the block of statements, what do we have? What do we have here? We are accessing the values of C and D global variables using the function, using the keyword global. So global keyword is being used, right? And this global keyword helps us to refer the values of C and D global variables. Then these C and D values will be incremented by 1. Addition operation. And they are stored in the back same variable. So C plus 1, so 30 plus 1 will be stored back to C. 40 plus 1 will be stored back to D, 41. Then I'm also defining two local variables. What are they? They are A and B. Hold on. I also have A and B here, right? Are these both same? No, they are not same. A and B, the variables that you have A and B in line number 4321 and 4322, these are global variables and these are local variables. How do you decide whether it is a global or local? A local variable are the variables which we define inside a function body, function definition. They are not same. Don't get confused. They are not same. Right? So A and B we have in line number 4329 and 4330. They are local variables. Fine. Then what it is going to print? What will be the output for line number 4331, guys? What will be the output? I'm going to print a value of A. So will it be 100 or 10? Good. Why 100? Probably here you are already going through it and understanding, right? It is local variable and that is the reason it is giving 100. No. Why 100? Justify your answer. Why it is 100? Why not 10? Why 100? Why not 10 is the question. I also have A as a global variable, right? Why not 10? So if it is inside function body, what? PVM, Python virtual machine, what happens is when you have the same names for both local and global, it gives preference to local, not global. So what's happening? The output will be 100 for the next line, 200 for the next line. Come on guys, what will be the output for line number 4333? Good. I'll execute at the last, but before that, I want everyone to, no, 10 will not be replaced by 100. No. PVM prefers. Good. So the output for line number 4333 will be 31. 4334. 4334. The output. '41. Printing the value of D. Where do we have D? This is D, right? So it is all again, both these are same because I'm accessing the global variables using global function. Sorry, global keyword, right? So the value of D is nothing but 41. Good. What about the line number 4335? I'm using global's function and I want to print the value of A. So what will be the output? Good. For line number 4335, the output will be 10. Why? A globals function helps us to extract or retrieve the global variable values. So which global variable value has to be retrieved? A. What the value it is? 10. In the same way, for line number 4336, 4336, the output will be 20. Using globals function? Yes. So using globals function, I'm going to extract the global variable value B. It is 20. Done. Then what will be the output for? Anyways, it is same. Again, the output will be 100. Then this will be 200. So global variable C will be 31 and D will be 41. Right. Then we are accessing the values of A and B using globals function. Okay, either you can do it in this way or even you can also use get function, because globals function will return the output in dict type. A dict type value will be returned. So you are accessing the values using, this is indexing, guys. How do we access the values in dict type data? Via keys. So A is becoming a key. B will become a key. So the value for A is 10. The value for B is 20. In the same way, there is a function called get. So using get function also, you can get the value for a key. So here the output will be 10 and in the next line the output will be 20. And finally, I want you guys to give me the output for line number 4344. What will be the output for line number 4344? Addition operation. What values are we adding? So this is a global variable and this is again a global variable. C and D will again be a global variables only. A and B, the final A and B will be the local. So 100 plus 200, 300. 10 plus 20, 30. 30 plus 300, 330. And C is 30 again. 361. And this is, yes, 41. So probably it should be 402. What do you see? 10, 20, 31, 41. Then the next one is 100, 200. Add up all the values. See, keyword is global, function is globals. Why are you getting confused? Global is a keyword which helps us to refer the global variables within the function definition. So the output will be 400. Good. And in the last line, we are anyways printing the result. Right? So let me execute. Let me define the function. Done. Now, if I call the function, so whatever we have discussed, that will be the output. See, the same, guys, there is no change. No change. It is 402, not 400. It will be 402. Why 402? Because C and D values will be updated, right? No more 30 and 40. 31, 41. So it will be 402, my friends. Right. Shall we go and work out on the next example? Similar program, but just changing, the values. I'm just changing the values. Storing 10 in A, Python in B, 23.45 in C. Then defining a function name as func2, okay, in which I'm using a function again, it is globals. So that means I'm using a function globals to extract the values of what? The global variables, right? Yes. And this function is being stored in a variable again, object. So when you say type of object, this will return as a dict, because we know that globals function will return as a dict type object. The output of globals function will be a dict type object. So when it prints, it will be a dict as output. Next to it, we have a for loop in which both the keys and the values will be taken and it will be printed. So it will be A10, B Python, C 23.45 will be printed. So the same for loop, guys, whatever we have discussed earlier under keyword, variable and parameters, the same for loop. Items function will return both keys and values. Right. Then what will be the output for line number 4359? What are we doing? OBG. OBG is nothing but the globals function. So globals function dot get of A. So what value it will give us? Obviously 10. Obviously 10. In the same way, get of B will return Python. So all of these are different ways. How in different ways we are accepting the values. Earlier we just tried these two, the last two combinations. But here I stored the function to an variable and that variable is being used instead of globals function. Either you can do it using get function or indexing. Use the indexing concept. So for all these lines, the output will be 10 Python, 10 Python, 10 Python, so on. Same, no change. Just trying to get the values in different approaches. In the previous example, we tried with this one. This one is covered and this is also covered. Using globals function and get function, dot get function, get off the key will return us the value. If not, globals of index. This is indexing concept. In dict type values, indexing will be done via keys. So A is the key, right? So what is the value? 10. What is the value for B key? It is Python, right? So let me define the function. Done. So when you call the function, it will be same. See. So ignore all of these. I have got some warnings probably from here. You see the same output. So different ways how we are able to extract value for A as 10 and for B as Python. Values for A and B, 10 and Python are being extracted in different ways. Just trying to understand it. That's it. Right. And one more last example coming to this globals function. So let us understand this and probably, we'll wind up the session. Focus. What are we doing in line number 4374? 4374. It's multi-line assignment, right? So storing 1 in A, 2 in B, 3 in C, and 4 in D. You see, all A, B, C, and D are global variables. They are global variables. Then I'm defining a function, and the name of the function is fun2. Okay, inside which we have local variables. We have local variables. So what are the variable names? They are A, B, C, D. They are also A, B, C, D. But what are the values? 10, 20, 30, and 40. 10, 20, 30, and 40. So the variables that we have in line number 4376 are, they are local variables. They are local variables. Then I'm using this globals function and I'm storing in a variable d1 so that I'll be extracting the values for the global variables using this function. So what will be the output for line number 4378? Output for 4378. What value of A will be written? Will it return 1 or 10? Obviously 1. Why? You see D1 dot get function. What is D1? D1 is globals. Globals function dot get function of A, which is nothing but it is extracting the global variable A value. So the output will be 1. What will be the output for line number 4379? D1 dot get of B. What is D1? Globals dot get of B. So will it return 2 or 20? The output will be 2. We are using globals function, right? The purpose of globals function is to extract, to retrieve the values for the global variables. Fine, good. What will be the output for the next line? 4380. 4380. What will be the output, my friends? So extracting, we are trying to get the value for C. So will it be 3 or 30? What do you see? It will be 3. Why 3? Because what is D1? It is globals. So globals function, and this is indexing for the key C. Okay, what value we have? It is 3. As I'm using globals function, obviously it will go to the global variables, not local variables. Output for line number 4380 will be 3. Then 4381, the output will be 4. Good. Globals of D. So obviously it will be 4, not 40. Good. And in all the rest of the lines, if you see line number 4382 or 4383, 4384 or 4385, I'm not using D1 or globals function anywhere. So obviously all of them, they refer to the local values, the local variable values. 4382 will return as 10. 4383 will return as 20. 4384 will return us 30 and 4385 will return us 40. Right? Yes. One last question. Calculate the result and tell me what will be the output. I want the output for line number 4386. Good, good. Keep going. The output for line number 4386 will be 110. Why? Initially, A, B, C, D refers to all the values, local variable values, 10, 20, 30, 40. So, when you add all these values, it is 100. And rest of all the values are referring to the global variable values. So, when you add these values, you get 10. 100 plus 10 will be 110. And that result will be printed. And additionally, it is also returning what? It is resulting what? What are these? A, B, C, D. They are returning the local variables only. So I'm defining the function, then printing A, B, C, D. What will be the output for line number 4391? Will it print 1, 2, 3, 4 or 10, 20, 30, 40? Come on guys. What will be the output for line number 4391? No, it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The global variables will be printed. These are local variables, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be printed. No, 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 no. When I call the function, then it will return ABCD. This ABCD values I am performing multi-line assignment, where the values will be stored to K1, K2, K3, K4. So what will be the output for line number 4392? No, 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 no. Within the function, yes. It gives PVM prefers local. 4392 will return as 10, 20, 30, 40. Here, the function was being called and at the end you have written ABCD. So where it takes the values of the local variables 10, 20, 30, 40 will be written and they are getting assigned to K1, K2, K3, K4 respectively. The same output, whatever we have discussed, the result is 110 and for K1, K2, K3, K4, the results are 10, 20, 30, 40. Clear? So when you print, you'll get the same output 10, 20, 30 and 40. So I hope it went well. So any technical questions? Any questions regarding the ongoing topic for today's session as well as whatever the topics that we have completed so far? If you have any kind of questions, queries, I'm here to address them. Clear? All went well? Right. So friends, if you find that the session was informative, and moreover, if you are completely satisfied with the session, if you assume that you have learned something new from this particular session, just hit on the like button before you leave. It's a kind of encouragement that we get from your side, a support, right? And do share these amazing sessions among your connections. Ask your friends, your connections to join these sessions and learn Python, right? Yes. So hit on the like button before you leave. And we have also posted the feedback link. Give your valuable feedback. Give your valuable feedback. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for joining and making the session interactive.